There are dozens of states in the U.S. that are experiencing a pretty significant uptick in the number of new coronavirus cases. And to make matters worse, we are hearing nothing but complete and utter lies from the federal government on how various states are doing. Now, the entire picture is not bleak. There are some states that have shown some improvement, but when it comes to various states, and I think you're going to notice a trend here, including Florida, Texas, Arizona, Oklahoma, there is an uptick, and part of the reason why is because of the premature opening of businesses in that area. Yes, there have been demonstrations and protests as well. And more importantly, there hasn't really been any leadership or any emphasis on the importance of using masks by our federal government. So let me give you some of these details. Let's start off with Florida. Florida recorded almost 2,800 new coronavirus cases on Monday of this week. That's the highest number of new and confirmed cases in a single day the state has seen, and that's according to the Florida Department of Health. Now, Governor Ron DeSantis absolutely refuses to ever shut down the state again. He told reporters back on May 20th that there actually wouldn't even be a second wave. But unfortunately, we're seeing the second wave already when this wave was expected to happen later in the year in fall. So Ron DeSantis said, quote, "We succeeded, and I think people just don't want to recognize it because it challenges their narrative. It challenges their assumption. So they got to try to find a boogeyman." More than 2 million people, by the way, in the United States have been infected with coronavirus, and 116,962 have died. And that's according to Johns Hopkins University. Health experts are warning that more infections and deaths are in store as states continue their reopening plans. And by the way, I know that we are very critical of the politicians in these red states, but it would be unfair of me to not mention that we're seeing an increase in California as well. And businesses in California have been opening. And I think that there, of course, are going to be consequences to that if people aren't implementing social distancing.
Yeah, it's really going to come down to when we see these rises coming in particular states or particular regions, is there going to be something done in response? So we've had day after day after day in Texas, for instance, of record-breaking hospitalizations. Not like hospitalizations during the second wave, just hospitalizations overall, more than during the first wave. And I know that Dr. Fauci says we're still in the first. It's dishonest to say that we're done with that. I mean, think about it. If at the very beginning of this entire process, like 3 months ago, I had told you that like 400 to 900 people will be dying every day. That's sort of the recent numbers over the past week or two. You would think that that was absolutely horrendous. Well, that's just the norm that nobody even really pays much attention to that we have right now. And yeah, you're right. California is seeing a rise as well. I just saw in LA County specifically, so not America, not California, just LA County, we passed 3,000 deaths. Imagine one thing killing 3,000 people just in the city that we're in right now, let alone the more than 120,000 that have died nationally. It is insane. It is suicidal that we ignore it to the extent that we do, and that we tolerate so much death, and that when the numbers start to rise, we'll see if DeSantis and if Abbott take it seriously, but so far they've given no indication that anything will be done. I'm not even talking about lockdowns. They're obviously not going to do any lockdowns or anything like that. All of their voters think that lockdowns are, that they're ways that you set fire to the Constitution or whatever. But they're not even asking for masks. In Texas right now, you can go to the supermarket, no mask. Totally fine. It's so weird that the cases are going up, considering this incredibly lax situation.
Yeah. So regarding the masks, there have been studies that show that masks are 85% effective in preventing the spread of coronavirus, which is why it's so important. Please, if you're out there, if you're, grocery shopping, please think about the lives you save simply by wearing a mask. There's so many people who have coronavirus, but they're asymptomatic. A very good friend of mine is a therapist, and she called me recently and she was like, "Hey, I got to go get tested because I found out that a colleague of mine did test positive and she's completely asymptomatic." So there are plenty of people who are asymptomatic. You might have it and be asymptomatic, completely unaware that you're spreading it. So my point is, be smarter than what the Trump administration is advocating for, okay? Protect your life, protect the lives of others, please wear a mask. And I will say there is a significant difference between some of the Trump supporting protesters and the protesters who are part of the Black Lives Matter movement. Because if you look at videos, they seem to take the mask situation very seriously. And, you know, they've made a decision that this movement is important to them and they're willing to go out there and fight for justice. And I respect that. But definitely wear a mask and do what you can to prevent spreading, you know, this horrible virus to other people. I do also want to share a little snippet from Anthony Fauci's interview with NPR's 1A. It looks like he and the president are not having as many conversations as they used to when it comes to responding to the pandemic. Let's take a listen.
Tell us, when was the last time you actually spoke with President Trump?
Not last week, but the week before. Okay. I spoke with him when we made the presentation to explain to him our vaccine development efforts. So it was 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
So again, we're in the middle of a pandemic where 21 states are seeing an upward trend of new coronavirus cases. The president has already checked out. He is not having as much communication with Anthony Fauci as he should be. And he's also, of course, in the process of getting ready for this massive Tulsa, Oklahoma rally, his first rally since March. And he is not encouraging people to wear masks during this rally.
Yeah. They say that they are going to be handing out masks to everyone there. But the camera's going to be rolling. We'll get to see, given a mask. The Trump campaign gives you a mask as a Trump fan. We'll see if they actually wear it. Yeah, it's like if Trump wins after doing nothing through the most horrendous domestic emergency that I pray we will experience through the course of our life, think about all that it will say about the expectations that people have of their leadership, what they'll allow, what they're okay with. He was sort of pretending to take it seriously when he was wasting our time with talk about bleach and UV lights and, you know, hydroxychloroquine and stuff like that. That at least his mind was ostensibly on the pandemic. He doesn't even do that. Maybe a comment yesterday about how they developed an AIDS vaccine, which isn't true. And that's really about it for him. He doesn't care. It's like a little baby. He got bored with it and he moved on. And now he just wants to stand in a rally and have people clap for him.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.